What's going on, guys, and welcome back. It does seem like everybody saved their tokens for a High Evolutionary. He's freaking everywhere right now on the ladder. He's living up to the hype and the potential that was set pretty damn high for the card. He's definitely opening up deck design and theory crafters with limitless combination and potential, and there's a lot of decks floating around, needless to say. So today I thought it'd be fun to kind of pick my favorite decks that I think are rising above the rest. Either I created myself, played, or tested on the ladder. But we're seeing something kind of similar to Kitty Pryde. We're seeing a lot of the same cards in the wide variety of decks that High Evo is in, as they've got a lot of natural synergy, and it's just too good to break up. This card's just a lot different than the other new cards that come to the game because it introduced just so many new cards at once, and there's a lot of different archetypes that you can kind of squeeze them into. Needless to say, it took months for us to find the best Thanos deck, and it's probably going to take the same to find the best High Evo decks. Now let's go and kick off the list, and we're going to start with one that I featured on my last High Evo video in the A-Bomb. This is definitely one of my favorites, currently very consistent, and it's focused on bombing the opponent with negative stats and inflicting a consistent barrage of this via Hazmat, Cyclops, Wasp, and the Thing. Now this allows you to both hinder the opponent, but also slams Abomination, She-Hulk, and Hulk, just overwhelming them with power as well on your locations, and sometimes all at once. Now, if your opponent does have Luke Cage, no big deal. We can go and steal that with our Rogue on the last turn as kind of a surprise finish with all this negative power swarming on your opponent's locations. Now, next up, we have double Power Evo. Shuri and Kitty have been a pretty deadly duo over the last few weeks, and so why not add even more chaos to the deck with Hulk and Taskmaster? Now, this deck is dedicated to skipping energy to power up or enable just about every card within it. Sunspot, Misty Knight, you have Shocker to lower energy to proc these cards, Cyclops, and then, of course, we have Magic for the extra turn. Now, you can skip turn 6 for the free She-Hulk and then play Hulk both on turn 7. You have Taskmaster to copy your powered up Hulk. Lots of different win conditions in the deck. You can also squeeze in Abomination here. It's kind of tight. A lot of these cards need to be here. I would say maybe Kitty Pryde would be the card you could swap out, or even Misty Knight if you don't want to capitalize on all that energy bonus. Pretty solid damn deck. I think Shuri will have herself back up in the meta with just the ridiculous Hulk power output in the first few days. Of course, the deck does struggle against like Shang-Chi, and Storm is freaking everywhere, so Magic, watch out for those limbos. But even with a turn 6 finish, the deck is highly consistent. All right, now moving on forward, Flood Evo is a deck that is focused on Zabu's power reduction, hence the name. To give you 2 counter plays on turn 6, you also have a cheap play for 4-cost cards that are going to allow you not to use all of your energy to proc, again, cards like Cyclops, the Hulk, and Misty Knight. And then, of course, you have counter play in Luke Cage. This is the more pure counter build with High Evo in it. Pretty damn good against a wide variety of decks, not just High Evo mirror matches. But, you are going to go up a good amount of those. Luke Cage also protects you from things like Valkyrie. Shang-Chi, Enchantress are good to take out Galactus builds. So you have a lot of just a all-in counter and control build here. It's just fantastic to combine the power that the Hulk gives you alongside the counterplay. Now, guys, there's not a lot of decks out there that can slam 36 power all at once on one turn. It sounds pretty damn ridiculous if you ask me. But this 9 power slam is capable of just that with double She-Hulk and double Abomination. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but you can consistently pull off around like 27 power, which is enough to obviously help you seal off locations with the early plays in the deck. And it's designed not to use all of your energy, just like all the other decks we'll talk about today. Moon Girl is obviously huge in the deck, and the leftmost side of your hand is also very important to manage, with both Shocker and Moon Girl being in the deck. But I will tell you, believe it or not, the deck is way more consistent than you think outside of the huge 36 power play. You have a lot of ways to push that negative power with Wasp, Scorpion, and Cyclops. America Chavez just helps the draw altogether because, Moon Girl and getting this double up is what is important. Even if you just get A-Bomb or She-Hulk, usually 2 of those are going to be enough to get you going. I like to play A-Bomb earlier rather than later. Let them Shang-Chi. It's better than them, throwing Luke Cage down and preventing it altogether. Now, what do Enchantress, Abomination, Doctor Doom, and the Hulk all have in common? They're green, the title of the deck. But also, the most importantly, is that they're together to give you a win condition, really no matter what deck you go up against or situation you find yourself in. Now, the classic Doom Wave is still insanely useful, or getting the Hulk out there early with his ongoing ability. combined with just slamming on A-bombs for free plays and Enchantress to counter mirror matches, or the number of other ongoing powerful meta decks with, Darkhawk, Devil, Dinosaur. Really solid build here. I mean, it just felt like I had an answer to just about everything. Struggled a bit with discard, but outside of that, it seemed to match up pretty well against just about everything else. Now, Thanos and High Evo have some extremely fun synergy, guys. In combination with Lockjaw and Wasp, we bring you High and Stoned. Now, Leech, Doom, Odin, and Hulk all push out reliable counterplay and power, while Killmonger is going to help you keep your board clear from all of the stones, and obviously counter the powerful one-cost cards floating around at the moment. Now, there's even more out there with Sunspot and Misty Knight, and so it's going to be great to have them in the deck. And there's tons of flexible options as all Lockjaw decks provide. I would say Odin is probably the most flexible option. You can also replace American Chavez, or if you don't want to use Leech, feel free to swap him out as well. Vision, usually a great replacement, but you can also kind of mix and match ongoing cards, whatever you usually do with your Thanos decks. You got to try this one out. This is the big bad deck, right? The High and Stoned, both with those Build-A-Bear kind of options that enable a lot of archetypes slammed together in one. Now, typically, as you know, when new cards come out, the first thing I like to do is pair them up with Control, as that's my favorite archetype in Snap. And hot damn does it deliver, guys, because of the sheer amount of power you can pump into one lane, and all you really need is a simple lockdown in the other. Now, we finally have some X-Man synergy with both Storm and Cyclops. The pair is awesome. You have just that consistent negative push of power with Cyclops. You have Jeff for kind of backup. Nebula works in the slot as well. Just, wow, it works just really well. You can even throw in, hell, the new Negasonic in there if you happen to have the card. With Storm, Spider-Man, and Professor X, you're going to almost always have some sort of lane locked down in a match. And if you do pull Abomination, it's pretty much a snap because you're going to have so much negative power pushed on the opponent. Now, last but not least, we have Evo Jane Jaw, and I showed a different version of this deck on my other video. If you want to kind of get the basics of the deck and of all of High Evolution, you can check the top right-hand corner above. But this is another build that I have seen out there, and I tried to swap in myself. I just replaced a couple of cards in my original build. But guys, this is great. This one doesn't have Iron Lad, which, I definitely think he is preferred in my decks. But Vision in there is very reliable to move him around where you need him. Because, well, Hulk is typically going to win a lane by himself, or Infinite. If either of those come out of Lockjaw, you won that lane and you just focus on the other. With Thor, your Sunspot, kind of your cheaper cards. I do like to play both Thor and Jane Foster on the same lane. Because, again, you have so many cards with just huge power potential, and so you stack those on one lane. And then Vision gives you flexibility into these control decks that are kind of all over. For a Lockjaw deck, way more consistent than you think, and I don't know why, but they're just extremely fun to play. All right, well, good luck. We have 10 decks that one of these are surely going to work for you. If you look for, like, pure just stat and data, I think the Mean Green Machine or the A-Bomb are probably the most consistent. Jane Jaw, the 4/9 power drop, those are really fun as well. The control deck is great. Thanos has limitless potential. And if you're looking to counter the card, because he's not going anywhere anytime soon, that'll probably be my next video. If you don't want to miss that, go ahead and hit the red subscribe button down below. And we're also making our way to 100,000 subs by the end of June. Thank you guys for all the kind words, support on, like, all the videos. Freaking just wild. And wish you guys good luck on the last week of the season. Happy snapping.